I normally hate scary books, but recently I found this Christian fiction that's supposedly really dark and scary with a very twisted plot. And somehow it sounds very interesting to me and I kind of want to read it. So tomorrow I'm going to be reading this book and I'm going to try my hardest not to get too scared. And I've decided I'm going to read this entire book in one day, which means I'm probably going to have to read a lot of it very late at night in order to get it finished, which is the scariest time to read a scary story. And this ended up being one of the most chaotic days of reading I've had in a while. I was experiencing all the reading emotions from absolutely loving it to kind of hating it. This day was intense and the story was even more intense, so keep watching to see if I'm actually able to finish it or not. It's the next morning, I'm up and I'm ready to read this book today. So the book is called The Last Sin Eater by Francine Rivers. Francine Rivers is a very popular author, but I feel like this is one of her lesser known books. She's known for doing romance, but this book is way different from all of her others, at least from what I can tell. It takes place back in the 1800s. It's about a very small village where they have this very weird tradition where there's this man called the Sin Eater. He's a creepy guy. He lives up in the mountains somewhere. No one wants to look at him. No one wants to interact with him. Basically, his job is to come out of the mountains whenever someone in the village dies and do some kind of ritual to take their sins away from them and put them on himself. I guess it's kind of a nice thing that he's doing, but it's very creepy. So a very strange premise, but I know the main character is a young girl, so we're like witnessing all this from a child's perspective. And I know it just has a very dark tone, at least that's what I could pick up from when looking at reviews about this book. So I'm very excited to have a reading day. I'm going to start reading right now and we'll see how it goes. So I have a big problem. So as you probably know, in order for me to finish this entire book in a day, I would have to spend like the entire day reading. Like I'm not a super fast reader. It's very hard for me to finish a book in a day. So like on its own, I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to do this in time. But then I just went on my computer. And for those of you who don't know, I'm taking a class for grad school. And with this class in particular, I have to write a ton of papers. It's actually a theology class. But anyway, I have a paper, or at least a draft of a paper that's due tonight. And I didn't realize that until just now. And honestly, I'm not sure if all of this is going to be able to get done on time. But what I didn't mention yesterday is that I just have a very busy week coming up. So if I don't read this all today, I'm probably not going to have time to read it, at least not for a while. So I do really want to read this today, but I also have another huge task to get done. So I've come up with a plan that will hopefully help me get this all done. I'm going to do like reading blocks and writing blocks. So I think all day I'm going to go back and forth between reading for an hour and then I switch to writing for an hour. And I go back and forth until they're both hopefully done. I feel like this might be good for me because usually when I read for too long without stopping, I sometimes get a bit burnt out with the book. So it's like a good way to take frequent breaks to do something else. Now the two issues with this are number one, am I gonna stick to it? And number two, is it enough to get everything done? Fingers crossed, hopefully it'll happen. It's gonna be a busy day. So what I need to do of this paper today is 5 pages, which is a lot of writing for one day, especially because it's a research paper, so I have to be really slow and like careful with everything I write. The finished product is going to end up being 25 pages, but luckily I don't have to do all of that today. It's just 5 for now. So I've been writing a little bit. I was going really slowly. I started getting really worried about not being able to finish this in time, but now that I kind of know what I'm writing a little bit more, it's moving a lot more quickly. So I'm almost finished with 1 page, the first page, but I'm also getting some good ideas for what I'm going to continue to write the rest of the 4 pages about. So hopefully this is gonna work out. So before I go into my next little reading block, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the story so far. So there's been some kind of tragedy that's being alluded to that happened before the book began. And I'm not exactly sure what happened, but whatever it was clearly traumatized the main character and her whole family. So everyone's very like depressed. And the main character, who is a young girl, seems to kind of blame herself for it, whatever it was. Anyway, outside of that, what has just happened is that the main character's grandma has died. And we're first experiencing what it's like for the Sin Eater to come and like take away her sins. They're about to have the funeral and supposedly the Sin Eater is going to come. I'm really curious to see what this guy is, what he looks like, what he's gonna do. And so is the main character. She's very interested in this entire concept. And I think a big reason why she's interested in it is because she feels like she has a lot of sins that she's getting blamed for. I think the concept of them being taken away that easily is very intriguing to her. A little bit scary, but nothing's too crazy yet. But we'll see when we get there. So far, I'm just very interested to keep reading. So I just got done with my next little chunk of writing. I also only wrote one page because for this page I had to do a decent amount of research before I wrote too much. It's just very slow going with this paper, but I got another page done, so that means there's only 3 more to go. So now it's time to start reading again, but I wanted to say that the book is going very well so far. I'm so interested to learn more about like the dynamics of this creepy village and just like the different characters and who they are. Everyone is very like quiet and mysterious, and it seems like there's a lot of secrets going on in this little town. I'm so excited to find out more about it. I'm basically almost 100 pages in. It's funny because in my paper I'm doing it on the passage in Isaiah, and he's having like that weird vision where the coal gets touched to his mouth, and I'm tying that into like Jesus and the work that he does and stuff like that. But it's funny because that's kind of along the lines of what this book is about, so it's like so much of the same information is just like being filled in my head. And also the book is kind of in a way helping me to write this paper better, I think, so that's very nice. So this reading session was great because I got a lot done, but I also kind of came across a frustrating part in the story where basically this very sad town gets a little glimmer of hope, like somebody comes and visits who can really help them and give them the answers they need, and yet everyone seems to hate him and try and make him leave. Obviously this was intentional for the story, and I understand more of why this happened now, but for some reason while reading it I was getting kind of annoyed, so the book was going a little bit downhill for me, which was a little worrying, which really made me wonder if this would be the thing that would stop me from finishing the book in a day. I'm getting like almost a little bit frustrated with the characters. They're so unaware of what like Christianity really is. They don't understand the Bible, they don't know God, but they do know a lot about sin. The thought that they cannot escape their own sin is really just taking over everyone in this town's life. I don't know, it can be kind of frustrating. I kind of want to like go up to these people and shake them and be like, you don't understand, like let me explain it to you. I just finished eating lunch, which was actually really nice. It was a really good little break. Now I think I'm actually gonna go back into reading instead of writing right now, because I feel like I'm going pretty well with the paper. I'm already basically 3 pages in, but I'm not doing quite as well with reading. Basically over halfway through the day, and I'm not halfway through the book yet. So I just need to spend some good focused time getting reading done, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. Also, something very funny about this book is that they have very thick accents, and every time they talk it's like written exactly in the way that they would say it, and so it like almost takes me like a little bit longer to read every piece of dialogue because it's just worded very strangely. So I've been reading for actually kind of a long time now. I finally hit the halfway point, which is very exciting. However, I'm feeling a little bit burnt out on reading right now, and I also at the same time really don't feel like writing. I feel like I've just done too much of both of them today, and I kind of just want to break. So even though I don't really have time for this, and this is probably a really bad idea, I think I'm gonna take a long break. I was thinking, what's the best thing for me to do to just refresh my mind, to take some time away? And I thought going book shopping would do that for me. I feel like I need to get out of this room, and it's been a little while since I've been to Barnes & Noble, so I think right now I'm gonna go book shopping. I'm gonna try to not take too much time and then come right back to reading and writing, but I just think it's a nice break that I really need. Alright, so I'm about to go to Barnes, and I've just realized that on my way there and back I can listen to the audiobook of The Last Sin Eater, and I can be doing 2 things at once. Look at me, using my time wisely. Barnes was really fun. I did really good with not buying a book. I didn't want to spend too much money, although it was very hard. There were a lot of things I really wanted. I just feel like it's smarter for me to not buy anything right now, so I didn't. Now it's time to go back home and keep reading. As the sun started setting, I was starting to get a little bit stressed about both the book and the paper, and I spent some just solid time working through both. And by the time it got dark out, I finally finished the essay. The paper has finally been submitted. I'm so relieved that that is done now. I actually didn't think that it would take as long as it ended up taking. Usually things don't get pushed off to where I have to do them all in one day, but that's just the way it was today. Now I can fully focus on finishing this book. I'm at page 277 and I have 338 pages in all. So it's like that much. It's not too crazy, but it's already kind of late and I'm very tired. But I'm going to finish it. Then it was time for me to just focus fully on reading. It was getting late, but I only had like 50 pages left and I knew as long as I didn't fall asleep, I could do it. The ending of the story ended up being so satisfying. There's a huge transformation between the scary, sad vibe in the book in the beginning and then a very happy happy and exciting one at the end. And it all came from the fact that this little village finally understood that Jesus alone atones for their sins, and it's not something that they need to worry about anymore. So even though I was reading some of this book in the dark, it was actually not scary at all towards the end and had such a happy ending. So it's the next morning, and I'm happy to say that I did finish the book last night. And now that I've read the whole thing, I can confidently say that I actually did really love this story. All the sadness and hardship in the beginning was so worth it in the end when everything came together. And I think I'm gonna end up giving it around a 4 stars. And I'm just so happy that I ended up doing it. So thanks for watching.